So I've decided to make a commentary about India and Nepal, but mostly India because I'd probably forget most things within a year. And now I have homework to do and shit, but I don't want to. So I'd much rather do this and record my memory before I forget it. So I flew into Chennai, I think it was May 4th at night, and from DMK, Bangkok, because in Bangkok there's two different airports. There's BKK and DMK. And I think DMK is the international one. I could be wrong. They might both be international, but I'm pretty sure I flew out of DMK. So after being in Bangkok for, I think it was 4 nights, met some decent people, Germans. Anyway, so I flew into Chennai and I arrived at night. It was already dark, and the plan was to get the hotel, quote unquote hotel I stayed at was Royal Green Accommodation, and they had free pickup from the airport, free pickup service from the airport, and like first time in India, terrified, no idea what to expect really. I'm like, okay, like dope, because there were no hostels available, so I'm like, why not just do the free service, have my own room. It's like $13 a night, which was expensive for India and Thailand, because I was in Thailand. A lot of the times I was paying, actually I stayed at a really nice hostel in Bangkok for like 13, but whatever. India wise, $13 is pretty brutal, because I was probably paying 6 to 8 in most other locations in India, but whatever, I didn't know that, and there was nowhere else to stay. So, free shuttle service. Someone's supposed to have like a card with my name on it. I'm just like, alright, go up to them, and so I pick up my bag to see my name. I'm like, have a fucking grin on my face, like, I'm Nick. Say, okay, and then we had to like wait for some other people. The other people were staying there too. They were there to go to temples and stuff, and they had been there multiple times. I was talking with them a bit. I don't really remember specifically about what. It was probably just like the temples and how they liked India, whatever. But I gotten to Chennai, whatever. I might have got some food. I think the guy ordered some food, because it was pretty cool. Like, I could order food directly from him, and they would drop it off for free. It wasn't too expensive, and the sizes were massive, just like curries and rices and shit, but it was decent. So I asked the guy, I'm like, yo, like, what should I do tomorrow? He's like, oh, I can call a taxi and can take you around. Every place is very far, so maybe it's best if I call him and he takes you to different places. Like, alright, like, sure. Because I didn't do any research before I went to most locations. And so the next day, I'm like, alright, so like, how much is it? It's like a 1,000 rupee, which, like, that's not that bad. I mean, like, it is, but at the time in my head, I'm like, 20 bucks ish. It's really not bad. I've never been here before. Everything's fucking far away. Like, everything. You couldn't walk anywhere. Most things were at least 10 miles away, like, worth seeing. The rest of Chennai was, at least where I was staying, like, walking distance. It was just dirt roads and shops and just nothing really to see, like, worth sweating for in the 100+ degree weather. And I really did slack on like getting into the local culture and like meeting a lot of locals throughout my whole trip. But that's my fault, whatever. And So yeah, we went to these different places, the temples. It was like 5 hours. It was overpriced, but whatever. So I get back. It's probably like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, just brutally hot. Like the whole month in India, like I just felt dirty. Most of my trip I felt dirty, but specifically the whole month in India, like I would shower maybe every 3 days, wash my hair every like week, because it was just such a hassle. Because like I'd wash my hair and then I'd walk outside and just feel disgusting again, and there'd just be a ton of knots, and like my hair at that point was like probably down to my nipples, and just like that's a funny way of putting it, but it was just super long, like longest I've ever had it, and like I would try to put my fingers through my hair like like finger comb type shit, but like I couldn't because there were just so many knots. It was like it could have become one dread almost if I wouldn't have showered as regularly or irregularly as I did. But luckily it didn't. And I got it cut pretty quickly as I got back to the States. Anyway, what was I talking about? Um, yeah, so I got back at 3 and didn't do shit, just sweating in my room as a fucking like sweat ball. Like I was laying down in my underwear. I'm pretty sure like like from all the sweat, like the bed was getting fucking soaked. Oh, it was just disgusting. It was a small room. It was like with just a fan and some outlets, and the cool thing or weird thing about it was there'd be like maybe 2 or 4 outlets, but then there would be like 8 switches for like you wouldn't even know what every switch does, and probably the people that like work there wouldn't. And that wasn't just Chennai. That was all across India. Just a ton of like switches, turning on and off lights or outlets, but there would just be so many all the time. That's something different. Yeah, so I didn't do shit the rest of the day. Other than like talk to the guy. I'm like, yo, so what should so, and I didn't book anything, right? So like I literally booked like 2 days or 4 days in advance for most of the trip except Europe. So I got to Chennai and then I was looking like Wi-Fi, whatever. And I'm like, all right, well, I think I'll do Bangalore next because that's kind of the next closest city, and I wasn't really feeling flying, and I shouldn't have flown at all. I should have just bussed because it's much cheaper, much more worth it. But whatever. Um, oh, excuse me. So in India, they have a site called Redbus.in, and it's cool. Like it shows pretty much every bus, like time, different companies, whatever, and you could book it directly on there and then just print out the ticket. But the problem is if you're not Indian or if you don't have an Indian credit card, you can't use your card to like it doesn't accept international visas, American Express, MasterCard, whatever. You have to have an Indian credit card, whatever it is. So I was like, I told the guy, I'm like, hey, I tried this, it's not working. So he did it directly, like, because you can put in your like bank account, and it'll take directly out of your bank account on this site. And then I just paid him like rupees, whatever, cash, printed it out, and then we and then that was it. It was like a 10:30 going to Bangalore, arriving at like 4, something like that, 9:30. I don't remember. It was like 6, 7 hours. So next day comes. It's May 6th at this point, something like that. Just brutally hot. Uh, and the guy's like, yeah, you should leave like 30 minutes before, hour before. I'm like, yeah, like I'm down for that. I'm trying to get to places early anyway. So, because it's just not as stressful, even though it's still stressful. um, so yeah, he calls a tuk-tuk for me. I'm sure it was overpriced at that point too. Whatever. Like I wasn't really arguing it. I didn't have much of a choice. I did, just wasn't in the mood for, you know what I mean, negotiate. It's just all, yeah. So, I'm like, all right, man, like, thank you very much. Just leave the hostel, whatever. Get to the bus station, and the bus station isn't a bus station. It's just, you turn into this big, lot filled with buses, and none of the buses have cities on them or where they're going. They're just companies, and then you kind of figure it out through that, and that's like the normal. There's no what are they called? Like numbers, and then they're like, okay, you're going to Bangalore, go to Port 5, and then bus at Port 5, that bus will be going to Bangalore. It's none of that. So I saw the guy dropped me off at this place, and I saw there was a travel agency right there. I'm like, okay, that's the only option I really have. So I walked in. I'm like, going to Bangalore at 10:30, and the guy's like, oh, he asked my name. He's like, okay, I call you. I'm like, all right. I really can't do anything else. So I'm just chilling outside, doing my thing. Then 10:30 comes around. I see all these people, because there were a lot of people just sitting outside in the shade, waiting for a bus. But like, uh, what? The silence. My bad. Yeah, just a lot of people sitting out, and I'm like, all right, just assuming they're going to Bangalore as well. So 10:30, a bus comes, but it's not. It doesn't even pull into that lot. It just pulls along the side of the road. So I get my things. I'm like, I go that way, and I'm waiting in line with all these people. I show him my ticket. He's like, okay, go to the side. 2 minutes, 2 minutes. I'm like, why? But okay, I don't have a choice. So go to the side. He lets everyone else on the bus. I'm like, so I go up to him like, can I go? I bought this ticket. Like, can I go on the bus? He's like, oh yes, 2 minutes. So he's like talking to someone, makes a few phone calls, and then he's like, okay, yes, on the bus. I'm like, sure. Like, I paid for this bus. I should be getting on it. So that's what I'm thinking. Get on the bus, and the bus isn't like a seated bus. It's sleeper buses. So on the left side they have double beds, or not beds, just like a leather, like a mattress with like a leather thing, so they don't really have to clean it. They could just wipe all the shit off if they're gonna clean it. And then on the right side of the bus there were single beds, so I was on the single bed side, obviously. And um, and then Bangalore, I figured like, okay, I would just get off at the central bus station. I mean, assuming things, shouldn't assume. I'm just gonna get off at the central bus station, and then from there I could figure out how to, because I think I had a screenshot of how to get to the hostel from the central bus station to wherever, to the hostel. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So we get there. People start like slowly. Bangalore's a massive city. It's like an IT capital-ish of India. At least that's what I've heard. They have I feel like one of the few places in India, or the only, other than Delhi, I think it was the only place I saw that had like trains. Well, not trains, like a metro. It had like 4 or 5 stops, but like it's still pretty cool that it had a metro. But yeah, so I get to Bangalore, and the guys like going up and down the aisle, like, yeah, throughout the whole thing they just yell. You get like the bus will just randomly stop somewhere, and they won't tell you how long you're stopping for. Maybe like 30 minutes. You just get food, whatever. Oh my gosh! And then yeah, so we got off at some place, and for food, and what I got some food. They had water in like these little cups that they would just come around, and they filled up the cups with the water. I drank it, but then I realized no one else was drinking the water, so I'm like, holy shit. Like, did I just fuck up? And I like look up to the guy, because there's not enough tables for everyone to sit by themselves. And obviously I was the only white human on the bus, so like I was stuck out. I just like say to the guy, I'm like, is this water okay to drink? He's like, I mean, I don't drink it, and everyone else just had water bottles. I had a water bottle too, but I'm like, yo, like free, kind of cold water. Like, I'm not gonna turn this down. He's like, I'm not gonna drink it. But maybe you are okay. Yes, you're okay. And then I asked someone else. I'm like, holy shit, just like holy fuck. Like I just fucked up. Like I shouldn't. Like they literally tell you not to, not to drink water that's not in a bottle. And I did that my fucking third day in India because I'm a fucking idiot. I talked to someone else who like, oh, I don't risk it, but you're okay. I'm like, oh fuck, like I'm fucked. Like No, no, these Indians aren't even fucking drinking the water. Like, and I drank it. I'm fucked. I ended up being straight. Like, no problem. India was the only place that I didn't have diarrhea, which was insane. Like, I had solid shits all the way through, and then I get to Nepal and it just goes back to normal. I was feeling weird and sick when I was in Nepal the whole time. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, um, so yeah, bus stop, whatever, and then um, get back on the bus and this and that, and they just start calling out shit. Not in English, I think Punjabi. Probably wrong with that language, but that's my guess. It's the only language I really remember. The word I remember from a language people mentioned at one point. And I'm like, shit. So I go up. I'm like, I need to go here. And I show the guy. And he's like, where is this? I'm like, I don't know. It's in Bangalore, bro. Like, I don't know where I'm supposed to fucking go. And then, like, zoom out a little bit on my maps.me, the app thing. And it's like an area in Bangalore. So I tell them, and they're like, oh, I don't know. And then I talk to one of the guys in, like, one of the first beds. And he's like, okay, yes, then you need to get off here, whatever. I'm like, okay. So eventually figure that shit out. And then a few minutes later, I'm in my bed and whatever, and the guy comes. You need to get off here, but not the bus driver, just the guy in the first bed. He's like, you need to get off here. I'm like, all right, like rush off the bus, get off the bus, and my backpack is already on the floor outside. Like they took it off and didn't even. It was just crazy. Like if I didn't get off the bus, my bag would have just been in the middle of Bangalore on the side of a major road, stolen within 5 minutes. It's crazy shit. Anyway, get off the bus. I'm like 7 miles away from the hostel. Luckily, where they dropped me off, there's a travel agency. All these coincidences. There's a travel agency walk inside. I'm like, I need to go here, and I show them the map, and they're confused. They have no idea where I'm going, this and that. I tell them the general area of where the hostel is. The guy tells me some insane price. I'm like, nah, like fuck that. I'll give you, and I tell him like less than half, because usually that's how much it normally costs, like less than half of what they tell you, especially if you're white, because they know you have money, or not even have money, just like they know you're able to travel. You generally would have, you know what I'm talking about. So I start walking towards the hostel, 7 miles away, but like I just want to get off this major fucking road that's bumper to bumper. And then I eventually stop at Tuk Tuk. We settle for like 200 or 250, and at first the guy wanted like 6 or 500, and then I settled for like 2 or 250 to get to the hostel. So that was cool. And then I get there, and that's it from Chennai to Bangalore. So now get to Bangalore. I'm staying at a place called Electric Cats Annex, and it was a hostel, luckily. So I'm like, cool, like finally I can meet people, hopefully. And it was a chill place. The food, there's a place like across the street that like made just like egg and like cheese, and then like they put chicken in this like egg and cheese wrap thing. It was so good. Yeah, but in Bangalore, didn't do much. I didn't do much in general when I was anywhere, but went to the Iksam temple, which I believe was like that Hare Krishna religion where they keep chanting Hare Krishna. That was pretty cool to see. Might have went to a few other somewhat cool destinations in Bangalore, but then I'm like, all right, well, where am I going next? Like, I was hearing about Goa. It's like a beach town ish. Like, all right, like beach. I like the beach. So I ended up booking a flight to Goa, which was a mistake. I should have just taken the bus, but whatever. Booked the flight to Goa. Oh yeah, back to Bangalore. So I met, not really, I met a lot of Indians, and then playing cards, whatever. I played chess. For some reason, this sticks out in my head. I played chess against this white guy from wherever, but he didn't know how to play chess, so I was teaching him. and so Indians have this head nod. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. It's just this like side head nod that no, I hadn't seen anywhere else. So when you ask them a question and they do this head nod, it means yes, but it looks like a no if you're not familiar with it. But they just constantly do it when they're listening or like agreeing with you or saying yes. And it was this white guy when I was explaining chess to him, he was doing it. I'm like, bro, like you have the head nod. He's like, yeah, I've like adapted. I've adapted a lot of things. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, that's pretty funny. And it was just weird seeing it on a white person or seeing a white person doing that. So yeah, I go after Bangalore. It was cool exploring Bangalore though, because I could take tuk-tuks around and I didn't have to do shit through the hostel. Took the metro all by myself like a big boy. It was cool though. Yeah, it was like starting to slowly get into and understand. Actually, maybe not understand, but like be able to deal with the Indian culture a little bit better and how things that aren't organized somehow work all the time. That was kind of cool to realize slowly as the days moved on. So I booked the. Meanwhile, I'm still booking like a few days at a time. I'm not really like looking far ahead in the future. I was planning on meeting up with my friend Isabel in Delhi around the 26th. So I knew I had to be in Delhi then. But other than that, everything was just flowing day by day type shit. So I book a flight and it was probably cheap-ish. And I'm like, fuck that, I'm not trying to sleep on another bus again. So I go to the airport to in Bangalore, and it was weird. Like, so I wasn't sure exactly what bus to take. They told me what bus, so I go to the bus station. And there's no bus for like a while with that bus number. So I'm like, well, not bus station, excuse me, bus stop. So I'm waiting for a while, and then some guys like airport, and like it was kind of cutting close on time, and I knew the airport was like an hour away or something. He tells me some price. I'm like, nah, like I can just wait for the fucking bus for half that price, bro. And then we end up deciding on and not even a taxi, right? It's just cars, like random cars. So it's it's how it is. Whatever, accept it. So we end up deciding on a price that's 50 rupees more than the bus, and I'm like, all right. Like, I have my guard up, obviously, because I'm like, this is sketchy, but it's not, because that's how things go. And then all this guy does, it's so funny. So this guy in the car goes on the same route as the bus, because I guess he knew the bus wasn't sliding through, or this is just what he did every day. He went on the same route as the bus, asking people that had luggage. It's like airport, and eventually he got one other guy, and then at one point we were waiting for a while just somewhere, and it it was so funny. The place had like a no parking sign. It was by like another big bus stop, but nobody waiting at the bus stop was going to the airport, so he just parked up, and I guess he wanted to just make more money. He parked up, and every time like a cop would come, he would like rush in the car and like turn it on and shit, like ready to go. Not come, like just pass by. It was so funny. It was awesome. We were waiting there for like 20 minutes, just literally sitting in the car. Eventually, he never finds someone else, so we just go to the airport. And we get to the airport, and you can't walk inside of the airport unless you have a boarding ticket or a boarding pass. So I didn't know that, so I went to the plate. I went up to the security guard guy with a gun. Like here's I show him a screenshot of like my flight. He's like, and he like tries zooming in, like moving. I'm like, no, it's just like a screenshot. He's like, you need to get a boarding pass. I'm like, okay. Well, how do I get a boarding pass? And he like pointed over to where AirAsia was. So I go over there. They print out my thing for like I don't remember, 50 rupees, which is like a buck or something. I don't remember. But you had to pay. I'm like, alright, well, I don't have a choice. It's the only way I can get inside here. So I go in. That's that. Whatever. I get on the flight, and I'm in the very last row. I think I'm like 37 aisle seat on the left side of the plane. And then the guys across from me, there were two guys, one guy in the middle, one guy window. Because I think I was originally right next to them aisle seat, and then I moved over because I'm like, well, no one's sitting there. I'm just gonna sit with them. I don't want to touch someone if I don't have to, you know. So they're filming everything. Like they're filming the lady doing the safety instructions, the safety card. They're filming outside. They're filming each other. It's just weird. Like probably just their first time on an airplane, which I understand. I guess that's cool. We take off. I'm doing my Sudoku, doing my thing, because I hate flying, trying to just not think about what's going on, how the plane's going to crash, even though it didn't. Just, that's what goes on in your head if you hate flying. And maybe halfway through the flight, the airplane is like a simulated like crash for 10 seconds. Like it's shaking like a roller coaster. Imagine like holding a, what could I even describe it as? Like a snow globe, and you're one of, but no, that's so bad. But it's basically like a simulated airplane, like super turbulence roller coaster ride for like 10 seconds. And there's people yelling on the plane, and I'm just like sitting there holding on to the seat, fucking looking at my Sudoku, trying not to think about what's going on because I'm so fucking terrified. And then it eventually stopped. That was fucking scary. Like most turbulence I've ever experienced on a flight, probably will ever experience on a flight. But then we landed successfully. So we get to the Goa airport, and getting from the airport to the hostel was probably like $7 cheaper than if I would have just taken a bus from Bangalore to Goa. So I dropped $20 to go on because there's no other. The airport is far as fuck from where I was staying because Goa is huge. I didn't think about that, and I had to drop like just so much money. I think it was like 1,400 rupee or something, and no one else was going the same way I was. So I'm like, well, I have no choice. So then you kind of just wait in line and you tell them where you're going, the general area, and then you walk outside and everyone's trying to take this ticket from you. Where are you going? Okay, yes, follow me. And I'm like, how do I know I'm supposed to fucking go with you? I don't know if you're like a taxi driver. Basically the same thing with like, oh, you going to the airport? Like same thing. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, you gonna charge me extra? Like, what's going on right now? So I mean, one guy, I was just eventually like, yeah, okay, let's go. And then it took maybe an hour or 45 minutes to get to the fucking hostel. I think it was like Banana Joe's or something. It was good though. Oh, when I was in Bangalore, I forgot to mention, I was in the metro, or waiting for the metro, and there were these like two girls, like 18, I think. They were from Mangalore, which they loved, like, were so proud of. They loved it more than Bangalore. They said it was like one of the cleanest cities in India. I'm like, yo, like I should go there because like everything was just really dirty in comparison to what I'm used to living in the States, obviously. But I can't really explain that unless you've ever been to India, so it's whatever. But yeah, Sarah and Priya, they were cool. We got to talking for like, and they didn't have to go anywhere, so they came to the hostel and just chilled for a bit. And they were telling me kind of just about how things were, and how women are kind of lower than men. And I'm like, but like, what's the reason? Like, is there actually a reason women are lower than men? They're like, no, just because power, and that's the way it is. That's the way it's always gonna be. Like, it's so fucking dumb. Like, for example, women are like looked down upon if they smoke. They can't really smoke in public. It's just not a thing. Women can't wear shorts. One of the girls was wearing shorts. Priya was wearing shorts, and she's like, basically, like, you're just slut shamed if you wear shorts, like, that show your knees. Like, why is it like that? And it's like, that's how it is. I'm like, yo, I'm sorry. Um, so yeah, I get to the hostel in Goa. Pretty cool. The girl, her name was Ali from New Zealand. She was a receptionist. I'm like, wow, like already a non-Indian. Like, this is awesome. She puts me in the non-AC room that I paid for, and then and then almost immediately I'm just like, okay, well, I'll go in the AC room for an extra 150 rupees a night, like $2 or something, $3, just because like air conditioning is like a blessing. It's just so hot everywhere you go ever, and so she puts me in there. Well, the whole time I'm in Goa, basically just like vibing, drinking, meeting people. It was the place I met um, the most backpackers. It was good. Every day I'd pretty much just wake up and drink and go to the beach with different people I met. Miguel and Gonzalo from Spain, Mike from Scotland, Ace from the UK, Carrie from the UK, and then later on I ended up meeting Dom and Marique. Dom was from the UK, and Marique was from the Netherlands. I ended up traveling with them for about a week. It was nice to travel with people, because like moving around, as like just basically transportation is the toughest, most annoying part of doing anything. Um, so yeah, Goa. That was that. Just drinking, enjoying myself on the beach most days. It was nice though. It was a good time. And then next will be, where'd I go after that? Mumbai. So I end up at this point figuring out I'm going to Mumbai, and I was traveling with Dom and Marique, and I told them what bus I'm going on. I'm like, yo, like, go on the same bus as me, like, let's fucking do it. I don't have to do this shit by myself anymore. Like, I'm stoked. And then they're like, oh yeah, like, we got this bus. I'm like, why didn't you just get the same bus as me? I was like, I was like, and I thought they were kidding. And then they end up actually getting like the bus like an hour later. I'm like, no, like, just fucking like do this with me so I don't have to stress out by myself like a motherfucker. But anyway, we all end up going to the bus station at the same time, but we just get on different buses. And so we get there, because the quote unquote new bus station, once again, it's not really a bus station, it's just a dirt lot, and it had recently rained, so there was a lot of mud everywhere. And it's just with a bunch of buses with no signs of where any buses are going. People just know somehow, and things flow. So my bus is at 6:30. I think theirs was at 7:30, something like that, or 5:30, and then theirs was 6:30 or something. And it was a night bus because Mumbai was maybe 10 hours or 12 hours by bus to from Goa. So I get on. No, hold on. So I walk over to this dirt lot, which they call the new bus station, mud lot. And I'm like asking, I end up asking like 6 different people on buses, whatever. Mumbai, 5:30, and nobody has any idea what I'm talking about. I show them the little ticket I got from the hostel, because I ordered through I did the bus through the hostel, and at this point it's like 5:15, I want to say, or something. And I'm just cutting close on time. The bus is supposed to leave at 5:30, so I like saw the place, the travel place, and I didn't think about it until I got to the dirt lot, because I thought it would be easier. The travel place was called Vijaya Travels. So and we were just chilling in a little park, like a nice little super small like park in the middle of the city that was just clean and nice. Like, I want to say one of the only nice, really super nice things in that center because it was clean and nice. Yeah, I said that 10 times already. So I walk into the travel place. I'm like, oh, Mumbai, like 5:30, and I show him the ticket. He's like, okay, okay, and then he's like looks outside and yells at someone, not in English again. Says something, and then he's like, okay, follow him. So I follow this guy with a cell phone, like a little notepad. I don't know what. I guess he was a busser or something, like a bus person related thing. Follow him, and he's like, uh, we walk over to the dirt lot again. And at this point it's like 5:25. I want to say 5:35. So I thought the bus had left, but a lot of times the buses are late, so I shouldn't have been stressing. But of course I was, because that's just what you do. If yeah, it's just what happens. So he's like, okay, your bus looks like that one, and he points across the street to the gas station. And it's just this bus with like a name on the side of it. I forgot what it said on the side of it, but like, okay, so like now I know what the bus looks like. I'm good. So it's like an hour, 45 minutes later, and like the bus still isn't around. And then eventually, I'm not sure if he left he or the bus came and he pointed to it. And he's like, "That's your bus." I'm like, "Okay." So I like fucking run over to this bus, put my stuff under the bus, and then get on the bus, and the bus immediately leaves. Like, some people got off, and then me and like maybe a few other people got on, but there was just no waiting around. It was insane. And then of course nothing on the bus, like I said, had anything indicating it was going to Mumbai. So if you didn't ask around, you would just be fucked basically. So that was cool. So then get to Mumbai and get to Mumbai and they drop me off on the side of the street again, and there's some like legitimate taxis like right there. And then I kind of realized like, all right, well I need to know the area I'm going to, and I need to know whatever. So I go up to these guys. I need to go here, and they tell me a price that's ridiculous. And I'm like, no, no, whatever. End up walking away, and whenever you walk away, they'll generally get very close to your price, or be like, okay, okay, yes, and then you get in, and that's it. So we on the maps, on Maps.me, you can basically do from your current location to driving your current location to where you want to go, and it'll show you the roads, it'll show you everything. And I was so we're in the area of where the hostel was staying at that we agreed to stay at, and the guy pulls over, and I'm like, okay, I'm seeing on my smartphone that, okay, we just keep going straight, we take a right, and then we take a left, and it's like right there. It's maybe not even a mile away, a kilometer away. And he's like, okay, here, directions. I'm like, oh, dude, I know where we're fucking going. Whatever. Get out of the get out of the taxi. And the guy's like, okay, show him. So I show him the address, the specific address, and he's like, oh, yeah, and he doesn't really know because it's a newer hostel. And I'm like, yes, yes, but like, I know where to go. Like, I show him on the smartphone, straight, right, and I'm like pointing with my hands, like, we go that way. And then he's still trying to figure out, like, he doesn't understand the maps thing. Like I had mentioned, like, you get in an Ola. I don't think I mentioned this in the last videos, but you get in an Ola, which is an Uber in India, and you get in, you tell them the OTP, which is like the 4-number code to verify you're that person, whatever. So you get in, and half of the drivers will just be like, okay, boom, maybe less than half, boom, and then take you to your destination. No, nothing said, we're good. But then the majority of them, I want to say like 60%, you'd get in the car, they'd ask for your OTP, and then they'd like kind of go in the direction they're going, and then be like, or some of them would just be like, where do you go? Like, dude, on your smartphone right in front of you, it shows you a map. You go straight for a mile and a half, you take a right, you go down that, like, it literally shows exactly where to go, but a lot of them didn't understand that concept, which was extremely frustrating, especially if their English wasn't very good. So you had to just do a bunch of hand signals like straight, straight, right, right, whatever. But then sometimes like you would get close to the destination and they'd be like left. Like, dude, I don't know. Like, I'm not from here. That's why I got an Ola so you can do this for me. You know what I mean? Like, it was it was extremely frustrating often, but it's just another thing that shows how fucking simple life is over here. So eventually the guy's like, "Oh no, we," and then some guy comes in. He's like, "Oh, we talked to the police officer, like the chief police officer of the area, and he'll know where it is." I'm like, "Dude, I know where to go. Really, I don't need you to go talk to this guy. Like, it's fine." We eventually get in the car. I direction him with my hands, like, okay, straight, straight, right, right. And then I see that we're super close. Like, all right, here's okay, because I could walk to the fucking hostel pretty much. But it was down some like alleyway that was like a major market slash, like, not major market, but it was like a market, sold fruits, sold like just about anything you needed, and just a lot of flies. There was a big, like, two dumpsters that they left there that were often just filled and super, super just dirty and just not sanitary to what we believe is sanitary. It was brutal. Whatever. So I eventually get there. I pay the guy. I'm like, okay, thank you. Blah blah blah. I somehow eventually find the hostel. I walk down the road. It wasn't down that road. I find it. Get in there. Places like I walk to the hostel. The guy's like not really that nice, friendly, like that you should have at a hostel, especially like foreign as fuck. Like, oh, welcome. Where you? I mean, once again, assuming shouldn't expect things. Goes along with that. But like, just it was a weird, weird vibe. So whatever, I pay. I'm waiting for my friends, Dom and Marika. It's chill. Like, it's no problem. Whatever. We go. They eventually arrive, maybe 11 or 12 midday ish, and we so we put our shit there. Like, we're in different rooms, which I'm like, all right, like, whatever. But then I'm like, I kind of just don't really want to be in a room with a bunch of randoms anymore. I want to know someone I could wake up and fucking say what's up to. You know what I mean? So like, whatever, it's cool. We end up leaving. We go to the Gate of India. We go to the Royal Taj Hotel to take a shit, even though I got stage fright and I couldn't shit. I mean, it's all good. The cool thing about India is, like, a lot of Southeast Asia in general, you don't flush toilet paper. You just put it in the little trash bin to the right or to the left of the toilet. And then in India, I think all of the toilets have these bum guns. They're just these little water guns that generally have like high pressure, and you shoot it up your butt and it cleans all the shit out. So then there's just a bunch of water everywhere. But the thing that I wouldn't really understand is, like, you don't want a wet bum. So I feel like so you would kind of need toilet paper anyway, but most toilets didn't have toilet paper. You had to have your own, unless you were in a hostel, which a lot of hostels did have toilet paper because they understood that concept. But that one that I had just checked into in Mumbai didn't have toilet paper, so I was kind of a bit annoyed because I didn't have it and I just expected it in hostels, which was stupid. Whatever. Expectations, assuming, blah, blah, blah. So we go do all this shit. We like figure out what we're gonna do. Okay, we get back to the hostel around like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock from the Royal Taj Hotel, this and that, and we're just talking in the room. I moved to the same room they're in, and then Dom sees a rat like on the bunk bed above mine. I'm like, yo, like, I don't fuck with that. Whatever. So we go to reception, and the guy just doesn't really give a fuck. Eventually, like, he tells one of the servant boys, almost, because there's just like young dudes walking around that like didn't, like, I guess they were just maintenance guys almost, but maybe not. I don't know what they were, but they were just really young. And he tells them, I'm like, yes, rat, rat. So they come in and they just start banging on like the bunk bed, like it's gonna do it, like it's gonna kill the rat or something. But no, like, because the bunk beds had like a steel frame almost behind them, So like the rat would come up to the top and like look over and then just like crawl back down however it did its thing. So we we tell him that nothing really happens. We're just chilling again, and then he so he had like a pipe, like a PVC pipe to kill it, and then he left it in the room for like one of us to kill it if it came back out or something. We're like, what the fuck? Just funny. And then we tell them again that we saw it again, blah blah blah, and then they start pulling everything from under the bunk beds like to clean it out, and they obviously haven't cleaned shit out in a while because it was so dirty. They even found an American passport in one of these fucking things, like just crazy. Like I wonder how long that just sucks. Anyway, um, so whatever. They leave. They have all this shit all over the floor because they didn't like they were kind of cleaning, not really. And then once they did leave, Dom was in his bed, and then the rat was in his bed and ran across his legs, ran across the floor. We're all just bugging, and then it like eventually just ran into the corner behind the bunk beds again. And we're like, all right, like we're getting the fuck out of here. So we end up going to reception. I'm like, yeah, I want my money back. We go to this other place. It was like Bombay Backpackers. That was pretty chill. It was just a bit expensive, but it was alright. Like met some cool people there too, and we just stayed in Mumbai for like a day, and then we did we went to like a flea market the next day or something, and it was pretty cool. Was that in? Yeah, I think that was in Mumbai. Uh, yeah, and then I think we got a sleeper bus to Udaipur the next day, and I don't remember much about that, but I'll let you know. Backtracking just a little bit, the following night, because we stayed in Mumbai for one night and then a full day, when we went to the flea markets, because we took the Olas, the Ubers, the Olas, whatever. We took it, and Dom had the destination. He like looked up where generally where this place, where the flea market was, because it was like a giant area. So we booked to that area, or we set the Ola to that area. We end up getting dropped off. We tried to talk to the guy, our Ola driver, and he's like, okay, here. So we get out, just some random street, and we go down like this one street where, no joke, every single human on that street was an Indian male staring at all three of us like we were aliens. Because it was a street, but it was also like just kind of a walkway. I don't really think many cars went by. If they did, because at the very end of that little street, it was an alleyway that led to like more side alleyways, and then so we ended up walking down that street to the alleyway and just left, right, and then I think we went straight, and it led to like another street that was basically a giant scrap metal, like if you had scrap metal, you would go here to sell it, and just we were so lost. So we end up somehow meeting someone, talking to someone, and he's like, oh, okay, yes, the flea markets are this way. So we're following this guy, and Dom's talking to him. There's another guy. It's Dom and this guy in front of us, Marika and I behind them, and then another guy was following us the whole street, the whole time we were walking, which was at least 10-15 minutes, and I'm like, this is sketchy. No one follows people for this long, going in literally the same direction, and we walk slow, you start walking slow, and I'm like, yo, like, Dom, how much longer till we get? He's like, oh, just up here, you know. And surprisingly we did get there, which was cool. But it was just and then it was just a flea market like the swap shop in Fort Lauderdale, except yeah, it was just all trash. Like we didn't need anything. But it was cool to see, you know. And that was the extent of that. So then we got a bus to Udaipur, and that night, so we got a bus to Udaipur that night, and Marique, Marique would always laugh at me for writing in my journal, which is pretty funny. Here's what she wrote when we were in Mumbai. Dear Diary, OMG, yesterday was so scary. We came to the hostel, and not just the people were really mean to me. There were also rats in my room. They even got into my bed. I was screaming really loud, but no one came in to help me. The hostel people just didn't do anything. It made me feel really sad and alone. I packed my bags with my two besties, Dom and Marie. I went to another hostel. Now I am happy again. Just like so goofy. And then this one is, so we arrived in Udaipur. We got an Ola to, was it an Ola? I think it was an Ola. Got dropped off on the side of the road. I think the hostel was about 2 kilometers or 4 kilometers away from where we got dropped off, and there were tuk-tuk drivers like, oh, very far, like trying to, tell us we have to go with them type shit. And orders an Ola, and we're just like, nope, whatever. Ola eventually comes, and the guy's like, the street's too small. So basically the exact street that we had to get dropped off at was too narrow. So he dropped us off along a main road, which was really far away, but it saved us a bit of money because he said you had to go like around about a 2 kilometer loop. So whatever. So we get dropped off there and we walk a little bit. We get to this hostel called Mustache Hostel, like Mustache Hostel. And it's alright, We did laundry because I had to do laundry. I hadn't done laundry in a long time. I think I ended up like not wearing underwear that whole day and night because it was just so, one, it was fucking hot. I don't think we had, there was definitely not AC, and we had fans in the room, but they were so loud, like extremely, extremely loud, to a point where you couldn't, you could have a conversation, but it wasn't like a chill, like, it wasn't a chill, it was I have to talk over this fan, and it's just annoying me, loud fan. So we stayed there for one night, and I think I ended up sleeping I slept in the bed for maybe like an hour, if I even slept. I just had my eyes closed, and then I went up to the roof, and I think slept on the couch up there, because it was more of a breeze. I don't think I got any sleep there either. Or like vice versa. I ended up switching back to the bed or something like that. So we stayed there, and then we're like, yo, like this is good. Like we had this really good this breakfast place. I forgot the name of it. But that was awesome. And then we kind of were like, yo, it was fucking hot last night. Let's just go to Zostel. So Dom goes for a walk. He finds the Zostel. He's like, yeah, it's just right down there. I'm like, all right, like fuck it. I'm about, like, it has air conditioning. So that was absolute gold. So we like cancel our thing. We get our laundry, and then we leave. We go. Zostel had a cafe on the roof, which was awesome. So pretty much didn't do anything the next like 2 or 3 days, I don't think. Just fucking Netflixed and Sudoku'd. And then the last day I was there, I went for like a pretty long walk. I tried finding some more shirts, I remember, but I couldn't find any that I really liked, similar to the ones I found in Thailand. So, I may have, but they were overpriced, just like maybe $8 or $10 each. I'm like, nah, you can just get them for $5 in Thailand. Anyway, Udaipur was just a really chill, really relaxing. I'll read the Dear Diaries that Marique wrote when we were there. So this is May 19th. Dear Diary, yesterday we arrived in Udaipur. We left Mumbai because it is such a crazy and scary place. It is so huge. Now we are in a cozy in Hazela, which means like basically cozy in Dutch. Now we are in a cozy in Hazela place. The hostel, however, was not so good. It was so hot in the rooms I couldn't sleep the whole night, and I wet my bed because it was so warm. In the morning, this morning actually, I had the best breakfast, all the fruit and yogurt. It was so yummy. We just checked in at Hostel, a better hostel with aircon, so I won't have a wet bed tonight. Now I am happy again. Love, Nick. And then this one's from the 20th, the next day. I had a really good night's sleep last night in our new hostel. I feel so much better than yesterday because keep in mind, like, when I was traveling, I would basically get no sleep, and maybe once a month I would get a solid 6 or 7 without waking up, which that's my whole life. But like, just the days when I got a solid 6 to 8 hours of no waking up traveling, I just felt like incredible. So I guess that was one of the nights. I chilled in the room today, and then I went shopping with my bestie Dom. Because we couldn't get into the palace, I wanted to buy some shirts, but I couldn't find any cute ones, and they were all small because my arms are so big because of all the push-ups I do all day long. After shopping, I went back to that hostel because I wanted to do my Sudokus. I'm almost finished with my Sudoku book. Now I am in bed watching Netflix. Love, Nick. So that was pretty much Udaipur. It says here, every day is Saturday. This is what I wrote. Every day is Saturday. T-shirts are too expensive, $7 to $8 a shirt. Oh, when we were in Udaipur, we met these two people from New Zealand. I think her name was Adele and I want to say Tom. I might not be Tom. They were real cool dudes. And then we also met this guy named Vicky, he was just like a hustler. Like, he acted all nice and shit. Like, I beat him in chess, but then like we would play pool. He was just like, he claimed he was like a pool champion, but he only told us this after he won shit out of us. Like, it made me so furious. I'm like, no, like, let's play chess then for fucking what you just won from me. Oh, no thanks. Just a fucking dickhead. And, yeah. I had to pay him 100 rupees because he beat me in pool. Let's see here, and then yeah, we went to we took a train from Udaipur. Had to get an Ola to the train station. Was able to the train, that was my first train in India that I took, and I think the only one I took. It was an experience. It was really crowded. They had a ton of fans. Luckily, we weren't in the lowest class, because the lowest class, I don't think there are any fans, and they're so overcrowded. Like, basically hamsters in cages. If you're in those, it's just wild. But we didn't have to do that, luckily. And then yeah, so a train to Ajmer, which I think it was supposed to be a 4-hour train ride, but it ended up being like 6 to 8 or something like that, just because everything is always like that. And then from Ajmer we got an Ola to Pushkar, and I'll stop right there for now. In Pushkar, we stayed at Zostel, but this Zostel wasn't as nice as the one we had just stayed at in Pushkar. Like, we had to pay for pool, which was really weird, because at the previous hostel we didn't have to pay for pool. There were just a bunch of rules. Like, I don't think you could come back after midnight. They stopped the pool, like you couldn't go inside the pool, the swimming pool, after I want to say 9. Just like funky, really funky, weird vibes. We were there for 2 nights, and then after that, I had left to go to Delhi to meet up with Isabel, who was coming in, I think, on the 26th or 27th. But then after I had left on the 2 nights, they went right across the road, literally 10 meters to the right. But this was like a really long road down to Zostel. But there was nothing there except the Zostel, the other hostel, and like one small store that maybe saw one customer every 2.5 hours. And like I even went there one time, and like a little kid, I paid a little kid. I think I bought water and like a small and like apple juice for like 30 cents or something. The apple juice was like 20 or 30 cents. Anyway, Pushkar, yeah, it was decent. You know, we went. I think I went in the pool one of the days. A lot of walking. It was super hot to get to the main area of Pushkar. Was about I want to say 15 to 20 minute walk because I walk slowly. It was just a big shopping area. I found some shirts that I had liked that were a bit thicker clothing or thicker material than the ones I had found in Thailand, but they were still pretty dope, and I got them. I got a bunch of them. My first day when I got there, I went to go buy a bus ticket to Delhi for the 3 days later. And as I'm walking, 2 guys come on like a motorcycle and hand me a flower. I'm like, no. I'm like, no. He's like, oh no, free, my friend. Where are you from? Start talking to me. Oh, there is a ceremony by the river. You put the flower in the river, and good luck to your family. Like, okay, yeah, like I just gotta buy a bus ticket, and then I'll go walk over and do that myself. Thank you. He's like, oh no, but it ends in 20 minutes, and I had walked at 2. It was like 2:40 in the afternoon, so there's no way anything ends at 3 p.m. And I like figured this, whatever. I'm like, okay, like no, it's fine, really. Thank you, it's fine, really. So they end up leaving, and I walked and I was really close to the bus station at that time. So I walked into not the bus station, the bus, or the travel agency. I walk in, I'm like, oh, let me go to Delhi this day. He gives me the options. I'm like, yeah, buy this, and then he's printed it out. I'm like, so these guys came up to me with a flower and told me there was a ceremony or a celebration. He's like, oh no, do not trust these men. They are like basically they're scammers. And then later at the hostel, we heard like about people that fell for it and like ended up meeting a bunch of people that were like involved with it, and then you end up paying a priest. All this shit, like people just, it was just ridiculous. There was, yeah, it was a good experience. Pushkar was really, really relaxing. I didn't mind it. It was just so brutally hot, like when we were there. The timing was just before monsoon season, so May, and every day it was over 100 Fahrenheit. It felt like over 100 Fahrenheit, and so that's probably what 35 to 40 Celsius. So it was just brutal every fucking day. And it was hard to like actually walk outside and want to do something midday because you just melt like onto the floor. It's just brutal. So here's a Dear Diary that Marique wrote on May 25th. Dear Diary, I haven't been writing the last few days because I was having so much fun with my with my friends here in India. We were in Udaipur for a while where I did nothing but chilling. It was awesome. The people at the hostel were so nice except for the one guy. He called himself Ricky, but really his name was Vicky. That's the pool guy yeah. He doesn't want to have a girl's name because he was a tough Indian guy who is the best at everything and knows everything about everything. anytime you would say something, he would basically know all about it. That's what she's referring to. And we had a mutual dislike for him. Basically, Ricky was everything. He was an asshole. He beat me at chess and pool. He made me angry. Besides this, Udaipur was awesome. Now we were in Pushkar. This is my last day with my BFFs, Dom and Marik, so this is a sad day. I'm going to Delhi later today, but for now we are chilling by the pool. Oh, there was a resort, so it was Zostel, the hostel I stayed at. Another one I don't remember the name of, that was right across, and then you come out of the little alleyway that we were all along this like bigger alleyway, and then just next to that was a big, like, not resort, but like they had a swimming pool, like a real nice swimming pool where you had to pay. So we're like, yeah, we'll just do that as opposed to go inside this chlorine, like extreme chlorine pool in the in Zostel. So we did that, and it was worth it because I took the 2 towels that they gave us, and I had needed a new towel this time because I think mine was like hella dirty, or was just like old, or I had found it, or so. I think I found it because I lost the other one or something. So it was worth the, I think, $4, $5 we paid. So I got a new towel, and they were brand new, like the type of towel that you feel the crisp on it before it's been used less than like 10 times, you know. So it was solid. Continuing back to what Marik wrote. I want to spend as much time as possible with my friends today because after this, traveling will not be the same again. I might as well go home. Anyway, going to Delhi and make some new friends. It's going to be difficult, but time heals all wounds. So yeah, I get to Delhi. I'll talk about Delhi in a second. So I took the bus to Delhi, and I remember I had Maps.me, which I had mentioned. You download offline maps, and at this time I didn't have the SIM card because I was with Marik and Dom. And they both had SIM cards for like Ola's and shit. So I'm like, oh, I'm good, whatever. So I tell the bus driver like, I need to go here, and I think it was a very similar situation of like I was looking where we were on the maps, and I saw that we weren't getting like closer because Delhi's a massive city. So when they stopped, I'm like, okay, like I'll just get off here, whatever. And I had it marked on the map on Maps.me where I needed to get to. And at this time it's like 6 in the morning. I want to say it's super early, maybe 6 to 8 o'clock. And because I had left at like 9 or 10, 9:30 at night. Arrived at like 6 something, 6:37, whatever. And then we just on the side of a main road. I had to like walk across a big street, walk in the direction of where I was going in Delhi. Names are because names are kind of gone from my memory of the area I needed to go in Delhi. All I had was the name of the hostel, but it was alright. It worked. Ended up getting a tuk-tuk negotiated, and I think it was like Sector 1, I want to say. Anyway, and luckily this tuk-tuk driver understood how the directions worked on my phone. I like was showing him, and he saw the arrows on it, so he understood. Ended up getting dropped off there at the hostel super early. It might have even been 5 because I got to the hostel and the guy at reception was still sleeping. So yeah, must have been 5. Still sleeping, so can't check in till I want to say 2. I was chilling, just walking around a little bit. There wasn't really a lot to see in the area where I was at, so I was chilling most of the day. I might have went to an ATM or something. And then Isabel had arrived later that night. I took an Ola, I think, because I went to luckily right by the hostel there was a cell phone store that sold SIM cards. So I went there, I bought a SIM card for like $10, and then I got a plan which was like a gigabyte a day for like $5. Just unbeatable price. But it took a full day to activate, so I had to take a tuk-tuk to the airport. I got dropped off at the airport, whatever. I had to walk a decent distance because to enter a little so there was the departures, or the arrivals, but to actually enter the arrivals you had to pay at the little gate thing. So he's like, oh, more money if I go here. I'm like, oh, fuck it. Like, I can see the arrivals from here. I'll walk. It was probably half a kilometer or something. It was a distance. And I thought I was going to be late picking her up because her flight was landed whenever, and I was like barely making it. But I had looked on the screen when I arrived, and I'm pretty sure her flight was like delayed or something. So I was chilling for like at least 40 minutes just waiting. I had a sign and shit. I remember waiting, and there was this Indian guy, like sitting on the bench, and I was like along the little gate, kind of like a barrier to stop people from like passing that area, and there were people next to me waiting, and it was like two ladies and a guy, kind of like leaning against like one leg up on the barrier type thing, kind of like you understand, I hope. And I turn around, and the Indian guy's like taking pictures or videoing whatever these ladies that have like one leg on the barrier, like just of their ass. And I start recording this guy, and he sees me. He's like looking at me like out of the corner of his eye. He eventually puts his phone down after I start recording, like 30 seconds after I do. And then he does it again. So then I start recording him again, and I'm like, this guy's taking pictures of you. And I tell the people next to me like multiple times, and he just refuses it. And then the guy eventually sees the pictures and deletes all the pictures. The guy that the two ladies were with. I'm like, no, like, this guy's full of shit. I saw him doing it. I might have shown them the fucking video that I took of him. But yeah, eventually Isabel arrives, and it was just so weird seeing like a face that I know after so long, and just it was weird for a few, like a day at least, or a few hours, just like having the vibe of another human that I could just perfectly vibe with, no problem. It was nice. So we end up getting a taxi back to the Section 1 or Sector 1, whatever. We ended up chilling the rest of that day because it was late. When we got back, it was probably like 7. We had ordered some food because luckily the hostel like would call people, would call like takeaways, and then they would drop the food off for free at the hostel, and it wasn't bad. It was maybe like $4 or $5 a meal, normal. Well, that's not normal price for India, but like tourist normal price in India, that's not bad. And the sizes were fat; they were massive, so we didn't really mind paying that. It's better than like prices in the States for food, obviously. Going out, takeaway type shit. The next day, what did we do? I really wanted to paint when I was in Delhi. So the next day, and I don't think we really knew what to accomplish when we were in Delhi, just because it was hot, everything was far. So we figured we'll try to paint, but we didn't know where to buy spray paint. So we look up a paint store, and like we Ola to that paint store, which is far away, like at least 35 or 40 minutes. We get to this paint store, and they only have bucket paint. Just like, oh man, like whatever. Okay, let's buy some bucket paint. So I buy some bucket paint. Ends up costing me a decent amount of money because paint isn't cheap. Like anywhere you go, it's paint is paint. It's expensive. So I end up buying like 2 or 3 gallons. I want to say I buy some brushes. I buy some some paint stainers because I was thinking in my head like a massive thing like along the side of like the main train station. That was going to be the move because I mean it's India, it's a free for all. Most likely, from what I had heard, and when I talked to whoever, they were like, "Yeah, it's." I think I had asked the guy at the hostel, like, "I'm an artist, you know. I was wondering if I could like what the laws are about painting." He's like, "Yeah, probably it's okay. Like, if they see you doing like some sort of artwork, they'll probably just stare or even take pictures, but the police aren't gonna arrest you." I'm like, "Fuck, like that's dope, you know." So I'm like, it's no problem. So I was planning on doing some massive shit. So we're lugging like all this paint around, like heavy shit, lugging it all around, and we get to the train station. We hadn't been to the train station before, so we didn't know what to expect, but we knew it was gonna be just absolute bananas. So we walk there, and because we get dropped off at the main road, and then it's another like really long road from the main road to the train station. But if you're gonna drive down that road, it's all traffic, so there's no point in driving. We made like the walk was fine, right? So I think we had gotten dropped off at the we got dropped off at the bus station, and then we're like, oh, the train station, because we needed to figure out the bus to Agra as well. So we figured that out, and then we walked to the train station. It was maybe like a 20-minute walk, which it was close by, but it was just really hot and like unbearable type shit. So we walked there, once again just like being stared at. The bus station was a little bit different this time. It was a little bit more organized, which was nice. We asked someone Agra, and like someone had come up to us actually, and he's like, "Where are you? Like, do you need help?" We're like, "Yeah, we wanted to go to Agra." And he's like, "Okay, like I'll show you exactly where to buy the ticket for Agra." So we follow this guy. He's a lawyer, really nice dude, and he shows us. I'm like, "Cool. So like, can we buy the ticket today?" He's like, "No, just come the day of, and it'll be no problem." So we're like, "All right." Another thing, like we just have to accept, and like you can't really question the way things are anymore. So like, sure, like that fucking works, I guess. So we just walk to the train station, and then we get there. Insane amounts of people. A lot of people like talking to us, like trying to get us to take their tuk-tuk, whatever. But just a lot of people like laying down right in the middle of the tracks. Just crazy. So I'm like, all right, well let's go this way and just start. My idea was walk along the tracks and then find a giant wall and paint that giant wall, because I had rollers, I had a lot of paint, like we were good. And so we start walking down the tracks, and some guy starts yelling at us, "Oh, this way, tuk tuk." Like, no, like it's fine. I don't want that. It's fine. Oh. And then this guy just kept insisting, and we kept walking, like past. We were gonna walk past this guy, and then he just continues yelling, like not just like oh, where, like, what are you doing? It was more, but it wasn't in English. It was all in a different language that I didn't understand. It was more like an aggressive, like, all right, fine, like I'm turning around, I'm gonna leave, just get away from me, you know. And so we walk away, and Isabel had pointed out like a really solid wall. It was like a short wall, but it was just it would be there forever type shit. I'm like, all right, like fuck it, I'll deal with this. This wall works. So I walk over to the wall, like through this tall grass, and this guy comes over at us again and starts yelling. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, just get away from me. I'm not fucking with you. Just continues yelling, not understand what he's saying. So we have to just end up leaving. There's a brick wall just before like we step down to the train tracks. I'm like, Isabel's like, oh, like you can just paint this one. I'm like, I guess, but from this brick wall was super, super, super visible from from where people were standing waiting for the trains. It was literally like, so imagine there were just a bunch of rows of people, like a normal train station, but the very last row is cut short, and then there's a brick wall. So it's at the cut short place where the there's still like tracks and people standing like further down. That was probably really bad at explaining, but yeah, just extremely visible. Like you look straight from these people waiting for their train, and they see us. So it was just sketchy. Isabel's like, "Oh, just like leave the paint here. We'll go ask whoever." I'm like, "Okay, we can do that," because I figured they would say yes. Because I'm not trying to like get arrested, and like it's like trained police, so I wasn't really sure. So I go to security and like, "Oh, I'm an artist, blah blah blah," and he didn't really understand. He's like, "Oh, okay, follow." So we go talk to his boss. The boss is like, "Oh, you need to talk to the superintendent, whatever." I'm like, "Okay, where's that?" He's like, "Oh, just like platform one." I'm like, "Okay," so we go platform one. We go to like the manager. Manager's like, "Oh, well, you need to talk to the superintendent, whatever." The superintendent's door is locked. So we're like, "Fuck!" And then we see someone go inside of like another place that was like maybe the director. I don't know, whatever. And we go in. I'm like, "I'm an artist, blah blah blah. Can I paint that wall over there?" He's like, "Oh, well, you need to talk to the superintendent, but he's not here right now. So just come tomorrow." And at around 10 o'clock, I'm like, "Okay, like cool, thank you." And I wasn't trying to make this huge hike again. We were like 30 minutes from the hostel. We were just fucking sweat balls, whatever. So this whole thing took like 35 minutes to just talk to these, you know, 5 different people when we accomplished absolutely nothing. So we get back to where we had left the paint. Somebody stole the paint. It's just like so annoying, super, super frustrating because I just spent a lot of money on the paint. Someone stole it. Just so frustrating. I still brought like a gallon in my bag because I'm like, I don't mind carrying this. But just the fact that like it was gone was so annoying. So I didn't even end up painting anything. Like that's all we did was waste time. Um, and then 1 second. So yeah, we end up going back to the hostel and just I think we showered because like once again we were out all day, didn't accomplish anything, just felt defeated as fuck. And I think the next day around 11 we went to the bus station and we're on the way walking to the bus station. Oh, and at this point my SIM card started working so I could do OLAs. On the way walking to the bus station, we're in the general area of it, and we just hear a guy yelling Agda, 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 because we needed to get to Agra. That's where the Taj Mahal is. We're like, oh, like fuck, we need to go there. Fuck that. Like we'll just walk to the proper place where we were supposed to get the bus ticket. The guy kept yelling it, and like pointing like at us. Like, oh, I mean, fuck it. Like we'll just go on the bus. So we get on the bus. Like how much? Like 265 rupees, which that equals like $5, 5-6 US dollars for a 4-hour bus ride, and it was on an expressway, like the only real highway I think I experienced in India. It was like fucking, it was a straightaway, so nice, and we were going fast as fuck. The bus ride was a real experience. It was very, very, very loud. Um, the whole ride, Isabel was I was sitting window, Isabel was sitting aisle, and there was a guy sitting in front of us. And every 30 seconds or so, he would just turn around and look at Isabel for a few seconds, not even just like a quick look. Literally every 30 seconds for the whole 4 or 5 hour bus ride we were on it. Just so weird. They were blasting Indian music. A very loud and overwhelming experience. And then we eventually get to Agra, and I see tons and tons of walls that I'm like, yo, that is a perfect spot to paint. That would be there forever. Yo, perfect spot. And I get to we end up getting to his hostel, And this hostel was pretty nice. It was, yeah, the AC was cold. It was better than the one in Pushkar. We get there. I'm like, hey, I'm an artist. Blah blah blah. We only booked one night, by the way. I'm an artist. Blah blah blah. Like, you think it's fine if I like paint? You know, any walls I could paint? They're like, oh yes, it would be no problem. Blah blah blah. And I'll continue that in 1 second. Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, like I showed them the map. I'm like, oh, right here's like a perfect spot. Right here's a perfect spot. Oh, by the way, on the way back from in Delhi, on the way back, the Ola driver had gotten lost and dropped us off like pretty far. And because he was asking us like where to go, I'm like, dude, I don't know. That's why you have the map. That's why you have the app. It tells you exactly where to go. Anyway, we end up taking like a few back alleys, and I see like a hardware store with tools. I'm like, oh, like this place is gonna have spray paint. I look, they have a whole row, like a whole words. They have a whole shelf filled with spray paint. I'm just like, Rust-Oleum, quote unquote Rust-Oleum, but it was bullshit. It was just like some counterfeit sticker. I'm just like, this is some fucking bullshit. We just drove around for so long, couldn't find anything, and we're 2 minutes from the hostel, and we find spray paint. So I go talk to these guys. I go behind the counter. I'm like, I want this, 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 this. How much? We end up negotiating down to like probably $2 or $3 a can. I think it was 180 rupees a can, 175, whatever. So yeah, $2 or $3. I got like 7 cans, so that was nice. Anyway, we get to Agra. I don't even know what time it was. Probably, I want to say 3, maybe. Or I think we were in Agra for one night. Yeah, we were in Agra for one night. So they're like, oh, maybe that place isn't okay. So I know a place. So then we get a tuk-tuk driver for the hostel, whatever. He drives us to a place. The guy's like, the first place they ask, they're like, oh, is this wall okay? I'm like, I mean, I guess, but the guy ends up saying no, which thankfully he did. So then I see like down that street, there's a huge wall, like super old, like, and the colors I had were white and black, so like shit would fucking pop, you know? And it was like a beige old wall. I'm like, how about that one over there? So we drive over to the other one, and I had the guy from the hostel with me, so he spoke great English. We we drive over there. We ask the store guy, the guy that owns the store or rents out that space, probably not even the owner of the building. I'm like, artist, blah blah blah, and the guy was like, okay. I'm like, I was surprised. I'm like, really? Like, this is a fucking perfect spot. Like, dope, thank you. So I just start doing the outline. Tons and tons of people stop and just watch because art isn't really a thing over there. It's just cool. I don't even end up finishing that night because I was rolling it so I had to do the outline and then I had to roll the paint on. So it just took a super long time. We end up going to bed. That was it for that day. And we get up at like 5 or something for the Taj Mahal. I think, yeah, we set the alarm for like 5:15. We left at like 5:30. Start walking, and then we're like, it's about 1.5 kilometers probably from the hostel, but it's straight down the road, so it's no problem. We start walking, and then there's a guy on a bicycle with 2 seats in the back. That was their job. It's like, oh, do you have a ticket? We're like, no, we're just gonna get it up there. He's like, no ticket up there. You need to get back there. And we're just like, no, it's okay. Like, thank you, it's fine. So we get to like the gate, and we're like, where do we get a ticket? We asked the cop, we're like, where do we get a ticket? He's like, oh, just down there. So this guy wasn't lying to us. He was serious. So like, we were even more mad because we thought this guy just wanted money from us, but he was actually telling the truth. So we walked back just like hella frustrated. Pay like the equivalent of like $20 to get in, to get a ticket for the Taj before the sun was even up. Which, well worth it going before the sun was up, because too many people, way too overcrowded, way too hot during the day if we would have done that. Good experience. Really, really dope. It was, yeah, just, the Taj is fucking cool. So then, yeah, we go back to the hostel, we check out, we end up going back to that wall to finish painting it at like 8. I'm like, hey, like, how about that water tower? Is it fine? Because the guys the day before were like, yeah, it's okay. So I go paint the water tower. 10 o'clock. Really scary because jumped over the gate to get in because it was like locked, whatever. And the guys across the street like saw what I was doing, and they were like pointing, like hand signaling, oh, just jump over type hand signals. I'm like, oh, thank you. Like it was funny. Guys selling stuff on the side of the road, like with the kids there too. So we end up walking up the water tower, up the stairs, and there's no handrails until you got to about the 5th floor. But there weren't real handrails. It was just like a copper wire that was like attached to the cement staircase that wasn't even at like your hand plate where your hand should be. It was like on the floor, and it was only for like half of them, going from the 5th floor to the 5th story to about the 9th, and the 9th is where I could like paint the water tower. Oh man, like the height terrified me, and I hadn't done anything like that in a long fucking time. But I survived. It was good, and Isabel was walking up, no fucking problem, just like smooth sailing. I'm like, please, like, get low to the ground so you don't fucking fall. And she just, we're on the 9th floor as we're walking down, fucking just not even scared. Like, you trip, you fall straight 9 floors down. Oh man, it was fucked. But yeah, I was able to paint that. It was cool. Police went by a few times. They probably didn't see me. And then, yeah, as we got back down, the security guy that wasn't present before, like, came out of nowhere. Well, a bunch of kids first like ran up to me, and I'm like, oh, like, here's some stickers, just they're all happy and shit. And then the security guy opens up the locked gate so we don't have to jump over it again, and give him a sticker. Give the guys across the street stickers, and there's a photo of me with some Indian guys with stickers on their shirt. It's pretty funny. That was good. That was really good. And then later that day, we went to a place called Shiro's Cafe, which is alright. It was like you pay based on how much you think. It was a place like for acid victims, people that got attacked with acid. And I guess they worked there, so you pay based on how much you think you should give. So it was good, and then it was along the main road to the Taj. More central than, like 100% more central than the other place. Like guaranteed visible if you're going to the Taj Mahal. So we go to Shiro's, and then there's like a staircase going up. And I'm like, oh, that's a perfect place to paint. So I go to the guy. I'm like, hey, like, to this store owner. I'm like, hey, I'm an artist, like, from America. Is it okay if I paint right there? They're like, oh, 1 second. They give me fucking tea. They go up, ask the boss. It's like, oh, I'll just talk to him. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, how are you doing? Like, my name's Nick. Blah blah blah. I was wondering if I'm an artist. I was wondering if I could paint this wall. It's like, you're a guest, of course. What will you paint? I show him what I would paint. He's like, okay, but not right now because it was midday. It was like 1 or 2 o'clock. If you do it later, maybe better. I'm like, no, like I could do it now. He's like, no, please, later because very hot right now. I'm like, oh, good fucking point. Didn't think of that. So end up getting an Ola later, coming back around 5:30 or 6 when it's not as brutal, but there's still as many cars. A lot of people fucking. So I like dust off the wall as much as I could. I just do my shit, and then ended up, did my shit. And something happened where I wanted to Okay, yeah. So I end up meeting these people that are getting a tuk-tuk to the Red Fort in Agra. And I'm like, well, fuck it. Like, I'll just go to the Red Fort with these people. Why not? Go to the Red Fort and then hung out there for about an hour or two. It was cool. And then after that, I went to paint by myself. Yeah, because it was on the way back. And then the bus we were getting was from 11. Was supposed to leave at 11:30 or 11:50. Ended up getting there at like I want to say 2 o'clock in the morning, and we were just drained because we had got up at 5 o'clock. Oh, it was insane. Um, so then bus gets there at 2. We get on the bus. We're ready to pass the fuck out, like for sure. I pass out like halfway, kind of, you know. Took like half a Xanax. First time ever taking a Xanax. And 3:15, 3:20, they wake us up. Okay, get out here. And I look at the maps. We only had gone like 10 kilometers in 1 hour 15 minutes. I'm like, the fuck? But it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Like everyone's angry. Everyone's fucking tired. Everyone's bitter. There's nothing you could do. So we get off just fucking zombies, just sitting in this random fucking restaurant with a tin roof, bunch of chairs outside, lights are beaming for no reason. It's 3 in the morning. Like no one's gonna come by and grab some food. Just it's like, what the fuck are we waiting for? No one knows. Eventually, like 15 minutes later, another bus comes. We get on that bus, and then yeah, we arrive. We were taking the bus from Agra to Varanasi. We arrived at in Varanasi at like I want to say 2 o'clock. One of the guys or I think two to four of the people on our bus were going to Varanasi as well. So we got a tuk-tuk with them, split the cost, and then we got excuse me. And then we get to the hostel like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The check-in process took insanely long. It was called Stops Hostel. It took like 20 minutes, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I'm hot, I'm fucking tired, I'm sweating. I want to just go sit in the air conditioning. So like I put my shit down, and someone else was checking in. So I'm like, I put my shit down. I like walk inside. They're like, oh no, please wait till we check you in. I'm like, why can't I just sit inside? Like, dude, there's AC in there. Like I'm fucking hot, like impatient, you know, just really annoying. And me being petty, basically. So yeah, we get to Varanasi. So we arrived. We walked to the Ganges because I wanted to see some burning bodies, but didn't see any. Well, did see some, but like kinda not really. I didn't, and not until like the last day I was there, I saw and it didn't smell. Vicky, the guy from Udaipur, said it wouldn't smell, and I didn't believe him, but he was right. That's the way it was, if you know what I mean. Um, yeah, so it was really an experience. It was extremely overcrowded because if you're an Indian, from what I've heard, if you're an Indian, you go to Varanasi when you're gonna die. And what some guy told me was to get cremated like in an oven was the equivalent of like $10 US, but then to get burned by the logs outside at one of the ghats was the equivalent of like $500 or $600. So you were rich if you were burned by the logs, and that's like a lot of the ceremonies that happened. Yeah, the next day I bought a bunch of paint like 10 o'clock, stupid, because it's so fucking hot. Didn't think about it. walked around, like, just asked people, hey, I'm an artist, like, can I paint this wall? One guy, like, said he was a tour guide, I guess. Don't know if he really was, but he's like, oh, this wall's okay. I go to start painting it, and the guy's like some guy, I didn't start painting it, but I was going to. And then some guy starts yelling, like, no, no. I'm like, oh, shit, like, this guy is not a fucking tour guide. But then I eventually find a wall, and I get permission from the store, from the little store owner, not a store, but like one, just like a little place where this guy sells like snacks and water and shit. And he said it's okay. Start doing my outline. It's too hot. No joke. Like I'm painting for maybe 5 minutes at a time and drinking a bottle of water every 5 minutes because I'm sweating so fucking bad. So I'm like, all right, I'm coming back later. Like, thank you. Maybe I'll see you later. Blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, but I need a ladder. So he talks to someone. And the guy's like, yes, you can come back later around 3 or 4 o'clock and talk to this lady. And okay. I'm like, great. Thanks, man. Cool. I appreciate it. So I come back by myself later. A bunch of kids are playing cricket in the same place I was painting. And I realized, like, I'll just do like I did something different than what I had originally planned. But luckily I had rented this wooden ladder from this lady who wanted X amount of money, and I'm like, that's too much. Like, we agreed on this amount of money. I'm like, okay, like, whatever. Her English wasn't incredible, so I just still gave her the money I wanted to give her, because there's no reason for her to fucking overcharge me, except, like, I was white, okay, you know, just annoying. It always happened. So, I was able to paint that. Bunch of people watching. It was pretty cool. Giant thing along the Ganges, and then walked more towards the main ghat, and I still had some paint in my bag. There's this big, like, bathroom tile thing closer to the main ghat, and I asked, like, one of the kids playing cricket more further away. I'm like, hey, is it okay if I paint this? He's like, okay, no problem, but maybe it comes off quickly because it's tile. I'm like, oh yeah, no problem. Like, this dries quick. Cool, because I had a feeling that shit would be there forever, and likely it's probably still there, which is cool. But end up painting that when I start painting, and people start yelling. They're not yelling in English, so like I just fucking speed paint this shit. Like I do the fill, and I turn around. I'm like, is this okay? They're like, yes, okay. I'm like, no police. They're like, no police. I'm like, all right. Start doing the outline. I dip right after. Just speed walk the fuck out of there. Hundreds of people watching because it was near the main ghat. It was just crazy. And then I ended up painting along some. Most of this is just revolves around painting. Whatever. Ended up painting along the main road one of the main roads to the Ganges, which is cool. Just asked the store owner something in gold. Then just walk towards the Ganges to actually like appreciate it. I was able to see a burning body, but they said it was disrespectful to take pictures, so I didn't take any photos of that. Just kind of tried appreciating the vibe. Just tons and tons and tons of people all the time. And then when we were done with Varanasi, not a lot really went on. We just kind of walked, and that was mainly it. Nothing too exciting that I could remember right now, at least. And then we heard that the time for the bus to Nepal was at 10 a.m. So we got a bus to Nepal. We went to the bus station, which was a proper bus station. It had platform numbers, which was much easier. And we get there like 9:55 or some shit. And because we had planned on taking like different buses, multiple buses, like to the border, and then from the border to wherever. But then we get there at 9:55. We see the Nepal bus is still there, and we see the ticket counter. We're like, oh, like okay, like can we get a ticket for 2 tickets for today? And they're like, today full, but tomorrow okay. So we're like, fuck. Like, all right, we'll just get 2 tickets for tomorrow then, because we don't really have a choice. So we get the tickets, and at the time, like, we didn't have that hostel, so we just ended up going to the Zostel, which was probably a bad idea. We should have just gone back to Stops, but we ended up going to the Zostel. We ended up talking to a ton of tuk-tuk drivers, and no tuk-tuk drivers knew the area we were trying to go to in Varanasi. Like, this area, oh no, I don't know, so I had to make the area more general. Eventually, we negotiated a price, because they were all trying to overcharge, of course, and we somehow get to Zostel. Still super hot, just sweaty. We got the AC room, but every like 5 to 10 minutes the AC would shut off and then restart again, so it never got colder than like, I want to say like 75 degrees. It wasn't even really AC, it was probably fucking even 80. There was like a fan in there. Yeah, it was just, so we were Sudokuing most of the day, just kind of waiting for the day to go by. Next day comes around, Isabel has food poisoning, feels like shit. We end up getting on the bus every 2 hours or so. Tells the bus driver to pull over, to throw up, take a shit on the side of the bus. Guys get off the bus, take a piss on the side of the road while they're watching her take a shit. Just fucking nonsense. Like, the bus ride, we left at 10 a.m. We arrived in Kathmandu at 7 a.m. So it was about a 21-hour bus ride. I was just not really sleep, just zombieing type shit. But it was a good experience. And that is most of my India shit. I can't really remember much more off the top of my head. I think I mentioned a lot of it. If not, maybe there will be another video for shit I forgot, but probably not. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you sat through the whole thing, good on you. That's impressive. I probably wouldn't even sit through it. It's not that entertaining, but whatever. Alright, hope you have a gnarly day.